And we're live. Hola, Unconventionals.
Hola! Good to see everyone today. Happy Sunday.
¿Cómo están?
It is October. As I say every single week, I cannot believe it. Time is flying.
It really is. It's ridiculous how fast time is going.
Yes. All right,
I'm
JP's adjusting.
I'm getting all this adjusted so I can see, blowing up the font.
There's always a couple minutes of housekeeping, so thanks for bearing with us. And thank you so much for joining us on another live stream. I know today's a little bit different since we said we're going to do a mystery topic, but we're going to follow the same format. So we're going to talk for a few minutes in the beginning, and then, of course, we'll open it up to your questions.
Yes, as we wait for a few more people to log in. Hola from Florida. Hope you guys are okay. Yeah. We've been watching that in the news. It's horrible to see the devastation in Florida right now. It's kind of shocking and hard to believe.
It is shocking. It looks like tornadoes went through that area, and obviously that comes with a hurricane, but my gosh, unbelievable. So, geez, that is just devastating, and our hearts are really going out to everybody, in not just Florida, but in the Carolinas as well.
Yeah.
And Puerto Rico. I mean, a lot of people got decimated by these storms. It's really brutal.
Yeah, horrible. Hola from Pennsylvania. Cool.
Oh, hola.
Yeah, a lot of cleanup to do, I bet.
Oh my gosh, I cannot imagine. Especially seeing those boats like upside down and like just thrown all over the place. It is shocking.
And highways, like the highways are just gone, but connecting like the keys, it's really hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. Jeez Louise.
So you ready to dive into our topic? Oh, before we get started, we want to remind you that our channel is viewer supported. That means we really, really appreciate you guys.
Yes, we do.
And if you want to help us out and make sure we continue to do this or can afford to do it, the super chat is always welcome. Super chat, super stickers, and super thanks if you're watching this as a replay. We really appreciate that.
Yes, we do. And thank you again for your continued support. And thanks to all of our members out there for joining us. Thank you. And yes. I guess on that last thank you, maybe we should talk about our topic since we just kept it as a mystery topic.
Yeah, we're not going to do this as like an official presentation like we've been doing, like a live video broadcast. We want this to be a little bit more interactive today. But the topic is basically, thanks, Brent.
Hey, thank you so much, Brent. Why am I doing
Keep
like
the Queen's wave? I don't know.
I don't know where that came from.
So I guess today's discussion points are about ripped from the headline stuff. And I read this morning that it said that this rule of thumb where you're supposed to spend 4% in retirement, like 4% of your principal to live on each year, they've revised that with new data from the past 30 years. And now they say that number is more like 1.9%. So if you have $1 million in your retirement funds, you're not supposed to take out any more than $19,000 a year. That's like at the poverty level.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. Hey, Ted, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ted.
I'm going to try not to do I'll do a full finger wave instead of the pageant queen wave.
Thanks, DJ. Appreciate it.
DJ, appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it.
So the other thing that I read about, this is an article in Barron's, and it said that it was a survey done at Vanguard, and they said that Vanguard, only 15% of the retirement accounts have over $250,000 in them. So that isn't even 1/4 of what you would need to have $19,000 a year out of your retirement to live on. Of course, most people will have Social Security on top of that. But I guess the question is retirement becoming a pipe dream for people? Because how could you live on that?
It's just sobering. The numbers are sobering. And sorry to interrupt you, JP. I get a lot of emotion out of this too, because not everybody's thinking about retirement, but it's hard not to see the news and read all of these headlines and be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Some of us are 10 years away. Some of you I know out there are only 3 to 5 years away. And this is very impactful.
Yeah. And Amelia saw an article on CNBC about what it takes to live, like to be able to live in a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment in every state. And that was really sobering to see like how much money it takes just to have like the basic shelter met.
Yeah. So if you're getting ready to retire and you do not own your own home, according to this study this report that we'll link to all of this stuff below, you guys. The average salary you need is $24,500. And then if the average retirement for Social Security retirement is only $20,000 a year. So that is well under the average amount you need for a basic 1-bedroom, 1-bath house or apartment. And when JP and I were living in Denver, what was that, almost 7 years ago now, we rented a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and it was $1,800 a month. That was in Colorado. And I pulled some of the information here. So according to this report, the annual income you need to afford a 1-bedroom rental in Colorado right now is $46,148. That's pretty high. And think about that, whether you're where we are, we're in our 50s, or if you're getting ready to retire, or if you're coming out of college, those numbers are substantial. And it seems to me like the cost of living increases and things like that are not keeping up with inflation and with these increased rental costs. And I could go on and on, cost of food, cost of gas, cost of everything. It's just doom and gloom. And I told JP, I don't want this to be a doom and gloom video, but gosh, I read all these headlines in the news and it's like, okay, well, inflation is this, are we going into a recession, blah, blah, blah. Ugh. So.
Okay, deep breath.
I know, I need to take a deep breath.
Deep breath. She gets really upset about this because it's really disheartening to think that you work your entire life and you get to the point of where you're starting to think about retirement seriously. Mm-hmm. And you realize you have not nearly enough money saved up and there's not enough time left to build the nest egg that you need, because the nest egg you need now is like twice as big as what you had been planning on throughout your working career. That's where we are right now. This was like a real shocker for us to know that for right now, retirement for us is a pipe dream, because we're not even close to where the original like 4% number puts us. We're not even close to that. And now to think that we actually need double what we have been working toward in order to live like a comfortable quality of life. Luckily, we need a lot less here in Ecuador. Yes. So I guess that kind of brings us to the two options that you have, is that the one is that you either need double the amount you were planning for, or you move to a country that costs half as much to live in, which is what we've done. So we're now using the savings by living abroad in a low cost of living country to help build the nest egg better than we have been. But, we spent most of our adult life paying off debt in one form or another.
Yep.
So we didn't have a lot. It would have been great if we would have been able to take all that money from the student loans and everything else, medical related stuff, and put that in retirement accounts 20 years ago. But instead, we've been paying money to banks all this time. Yeah,
it's been, it's like I said, it's been interesting. And it made me think about the last recession, or the Great Recession, or whatever people called it, back in like 2008, 2009. And I know people who were getting ready to retire and then they had to go back into the workforce. And I know that this is like a cyclical thing and all of that. It just really got us thinking, it got us thinking about how grateful we are to be where we're at, living in Ecuador and living in a lower cost country. I mean, yeah, we will have our Social Security, but I don't want to just rely on Social Security. I want to make sure we have a nice nest egg to fall back on. And, I'm not thinking about retiring right now, but you still have to think about your future, obviously. And we just did a video on Thursday about countries where you can live under $2,000 a month, and
for a couple.
And I'm really glad we've been doing all this research, because there are so many options out there, and it gets to be a little bit of a downer when you read the news sometimes and you think, geez, people are living paycheck to paycheck and the credit rates are going up, and they're saying that the mortgage rates are going to be up to like 7%. And, there are other options.
Yes, there are. So John pointed out that he doesn't plan on living to 115.
I plan on living to 100, 115. I don't know.
What the article said is that if you're a couple, that there's a really good chance that one of you will live 30 years in retirement. And if you don't want to run out of money during retirement, that's where this 1.9% comes from. Is that, I think that assumes that there were two people, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But still, it doesn't matter, one or two people. It's 1.9%, because theoretically you would have less if you're an individual versus a couple that's been saving.
Right. That's true. I guess it's all relative.
Yeah.
anyway, so that just really got our juices flowing, as you could tell, especially for me. And then looking through these rental, so I looked at Illinois because that's the state where I grew up in, and it says the annual income you need to afford a one bedroom in Illinois is $38,891,
or 39,000,
or 39,000.
And then numbers.
In Kansas,
round up.
In Kansas, you need approximately 28,000. But we've been able to live in Colorado for under 18. Well, we lived about 1,800 a month for what, 3 years?
Colorado.
I said Colorado, Ecuador.
Yes, Ecuador. Our first 3 years in Ecuador, we lived on 1,800 a month total, sometimes less than that, which was the amount of our rent in Colorado. So we lived here on total all-in rent, healthcare, food, everything for less than basically the cost of our rent in Denver.
Yeah. So
it really is. That's why we were able to pay off our debt in 3 years and not 20 or 25 or never. Well, had we stayed in the U.S.
I think the other positive about moving, I mean, you guys have heard us talk about this a lot. We are very passionate about going out and living in another country, whether you live there permanently or not, because you get to experience so much more that life has to offer. But it feels very freeing when I read these headlines and think, okay, well, I don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. Obviously, we still worry about retirement and having enough money saved, but we don't worry about inflation and things like that. And it's a really good feeling. Well, granted, we're still working, so that does help.
Yes. Yeah. We don't plan on retiring,
no,
at least
we
not
don't.
anytime soon, but you never know if something happens health-wise, whether you're going to be able to work or not. That's the other thing that you can't plan on if something happens mentally or physically that prevents you from working as you get older.
Yep.
Well, so
I mean, look at what happened to JP. He didn't work for a year. So anything could happen at any time. And you were in your 40s when that happened.
Yeah.
So life can be kind of sobering.
Yeah. It's hard to work when you're on those painkillers and
horrible.
You can't walk and terrible pain. And thank you, B Nakano. Cool name. I like your profile picture. Cute little dog. Please tell us which company one can work online teaching English without having a degree. Thank you.
Well, Cambly is one of those. I know that. Yeah, they don't require a degree.
Yeah, Cambly. We've featured them. Here, I'll type that in here.
Yeah.
Cambly.com. We featured them they were one of our sponsors last year. Yeah, I don't think they require a degree. There are some out there that don't require a degree. Yes. I don't know them all off the top of my head during a live stream. It's difficult for me to look that up.
But I know for a fact Cambly is.
Yeah. There's a lot of options for teaching online.
There are. Oh, it looks like Joseph may Preply.
Preply.
Oh, Preply. Okay, I was way off.
Preply. Preply. I think.
Preply. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Nice. Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, thanks for adding that information for us. We appreciate that. Preply.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about this? Are you guys as worried about ever being able to retire as we are, or is this another example of the news media hype gone crazy? Because didn't we just complain about that last week? Freaking us all out.
Yes.
It could be.
Yes, those darn media people.
Yeah, they like to get their clicks.
Yeah, well, it's working because boy, it got us clicking.
I know. It is. It's I don't know. It's just especially when you're in your 50s and you realize how far away we are from being able to afford the retirement they say we should, and how much everything costs. I'm just so thankful to be here. So, yeah.
So Robert said yes on the news media. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of the news media likes to freak people out, regardless of what it is.
John says he's going to spend the inheritance. That's good.
Nice.
Can't take it with you.
Good for you.
Well, that's good that you have the pension, your federal pension and Social Security. That's good.
That is good. Yeah, not everybody's in a bad situation. And we've met people from, all walks of life. So we've had people that have moved here on $800 a month for a couple, and they really struggled. And then we know people who don't have to worry at all. So I think most of us fall in between. But we know that once Ecuador changed their retiree income requirements, that really impacted a lot of people, because if you're right there on the cusp, you don't have time to rework your finances, unfortunately. So
yeah,
Ecuador went from, what was it?
It was $425 a month to $1275 a month overnight, practically. And we know that a lot of people gave up on Ecuador because our views were down by about a third after that. So we lost about a third of our audience when Ecuador made that change. So we know about a third of the people basically could no longer afford to come to Ecuador, which was, really a lot of people had been making plans for years and then all of a sudden had the rug yanked out from under them. Somebody asked if we could live here on Social Security alone. Boyd asked that, and yes,
you definitely can.
Well, we could live here on Amelia's, not mine, because when you're self-employed, and I sold a company and lived out the proceeds for several years, and when most of your money comes from capital gains, you don't pay into Social Security. So I didn't pay into it for several years when I wasn't working and when I was living off capital gains from a business sale. So my Social Security check is like this big compared to Amelia's, she's been, the good employee all these years, paying into all of those programs. And so she's benefiting from that in retirement. But entrepreneurs are often not as. So
Greg, it's $1275 per person. So if you want to come as a couple,
no, it's not $1275 per person. It's $1275 for what? The retirement visa?
Yeah.
It's $1275 for the primary and an additional $250, I think, $250 for each additional dependent visa holder.
Right, but it's not per couple. So you can't combine your retirement between two people and qualify for that.
Correct.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't combine income sources for that. You actually, for the pension or visa, you have to prove using an income letter where the money comes from. So it's got to come from Social Security, a pension, an annuity, something that pays you every month for the rest of your life. And that's the requirement that Ecuador has. Now, for other types of visas, like the professional visa that I'm on, they don't verify source of funds. So we literally transferred money from one account to another in order to qualify for the visa. And they don't care where the money comes from as long as it's being regularly deposited into your primary bank account.
Right. And right now, the income requirement for that is only $425. It was $800 when we were getting ours. So this changes periodically.
Yeah. CJ asked if we think the retirement visa amount is going to go up. So it's pegged to the monthly minimum wage, which this year is $425. It's 3 times that amount. So next year that is supposed to go up to $450, and it's supposed to go up to $500. So it's going to increment by $25 each year for the next 3 years. So we expect that in 3 years, the pension or income requirement will be $1,500 a month once that hits 500.
Right.
Yep.
Just checking through the comments here. Pardon me. Ooh.
Thanks, John.
In my throat.
Yeah, thumbs up, guys.
Yes, thank you, John, and thank you, Live, Love, Heal. She's complimented your shirt and my necklace, so thank you very much.
Is that the one Marcia and Jeff gave you?
It is.
Yes. Our friends Marcia and Jeff in Cuenca.
Yes.
Hola, guys, if you're watching.
Hola.
Thank you for the necklace. Amelia wears it a lot.
I do. It's one of my favorites. This is made here locally in Ecuador. How hot is it in Ecuador? It's not that hot. Well, I guess it might be on the coast, but it's in the 70s in the mountains.
Yep.
It's comfortable. We don't see those massive swings in the heat like they do in the United States, like in Texas when we were there last month, and we thought we were going to die.
Yeah.
Because it was so hot.
Thank you, William.
William, muchas gracias.
How is the inventory of apartments for rent there? You can always find places to rent. We've never had that much of a shortage. It depends on like what you're looking for and where you're looking for it. Like on the beach in Manta, there's not a lot to choose from. Salinas, there's a lot. It just really depends on where you're going, what like level of housing you're looking for.
Cuenca has a lot. Alone, because it's so small, there isn't quite as much to choose from, but there's other communities along the coast. So there's a lot of availability.
CJ, the amount is based on when you apply. So if you're if you already have a visa, then it's our understanding that you're tied into the amount that it's at when you apply for the visa. So if it goes up next year, you don't have to prove you have more income to stay here. That's not the way it works. Everybody is grandfathered in. Like we're grandfathered in from the visa requirements from 5 years ago, which it's kind of bad for Amelia, because if something happens to me, then she has to start the visa process over, which is one reason why we want to get our citizenship next year, so that she is free and clear of my visa. Because right now her dependent visa is tied to my professional visa, and we're under the old rules, which are not very dependent visa friendly.
No, they are not.
It would be really nice if they would update with the good stuff and not the bad stuff.
Yes.
Thank you, William.
William, muchas gracias.
Your top 10 countries for expat retirement listed Nicaragua, but not Guatemala or Belize. How would you rate those countries?
Well, Belize has been really popular and it's been on the expat list for a long time. I think it's pretty tax friendly too. So I think, well, honestly, both of them are good. We don't know as much about Guatemala. We've heard that people really love it there, but we didn't get as much input on that as we did Nicaragua from your fellow viewers. So that's why we did not include them.
Yeah, the reason why we put Nicaragua in there is we get comments all the time on all of our videos about how much people enjoy living there, and they talk about what their life is like there and how affordable things are and how good the food is and the people are nice and it's beautiful. So that's why we included it. And we try to keep these, like that video is 20 minutes long with 10 countries in it. So we often get the list afterwards. Why didn't you include Panama? Why not whatever? Why not Malaysia? Yeah. Why not Paraguay, Uruguay? We get the whole list afterwards. Argentina, Chile. But if we talked about every possible option in those videos, they would be an hour or two long and no one would watch them.
Especially, well, you guys are here, we can talk. So I'm sure we could have done that, those 10 countries faster, but we can't seem to stop ourselves from chatting.
Yes, we do talk a lot.
Well, and we like to share information. It's really fun. I really like doing the research and putting our plan together in some of the countries we're going to go visit. So it's a win-win. I hope it's a win-win for all of us. I feel like it is.
Somebody said we left Panama and Costa Rica off of it. This was supposed to be for where a couple can live for less than $2,000 a month, and those are a bit more expensive now. So
yeah,
based on what we're reading, it might be a challenge to live there. Just same with Mexico. Mexico alone, you have to have $2,600 a month just to qualify for their temporary residency visa. And now that they've gotten rid of their perpetual tourist visa, you need to qualify for a visa. So you can't, if you have to have $2,600 just to get the visa, that means you can't really live there for less than $2,000 because you wouldn't be able to get the visa.
Right.
So
yes,
that's why we left Mexico off.
Yes.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yes, Chuck, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. It's interesting to talk about this stuff.
It is.
Because, I don't know, I was also raised where you don't talk about finances. And so maybe that's why I like to talk about this more, because we didn't talk about that a lot when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah, that's a Midwestern cultural thing, I think,
is.
because my family is the same way. You never talk about money.
Mm-mm. But I do think that we may have succumbed to the news media hype a bit about some of these headlines. It's nice to hear from you guys and that you're not as worried about it. So we're really happy to hear that. We actually were talking to a young lady who graduated college recently and got a job, and she got a cost of living increase, which was still a good amount of money, but she was telling us it still wasn't nearly enough to cover the cost of everything else that had gone up in her life. And she's just getting started. So it's interesting to hear, somebody who's 25 years old, here we are in our 50s. And then some of you guys are, in your 60s or 70 getting ready to retire. So it's really interesting to have all of these different perspectives as you go along through life.
Yes. And she forgot to mention that this girl lives in Texas,
yes.
not Ecuador.
Not Ecuador, no.
So it was kind of an important
I guess that is
piece of information.
Yes.
She's from Texas.
She's an American.
Yeah.
From the United States of America, not from South America.
Yes. So rent prices, have it gone up or been mostly stable? I would say that they've been pretty stable, except in some of the areas like Manta, they've gone up just because of the shortage of real estate available. But it's on the beach, like off the beach, it's pretty much the same as it has been. So yeah, we haven't heard much. We've heard maybe some increase in Cuenca recently, and Vilcabamba, we heard that the rents have gone up and housing prices in general in Vilca have gone up because of all the people moving there.
Yeah, it happens.
Thank you, Reese.
Hey, Reese, thank you so much.
Are you familiar with the La Armenia area near Quito? If so, your impressions, and would a car be needed? We do not know where. Do you know where that is?
Yes, we do know because we drove through it when we went up to, when we did that tour with Paul Bustos. Remember? And we went to the agave place.
Oh, yes. Is that La Armenia?
Yeah. So I would have to say you would probably want a car in that area. Unless you just wanted to stay local.
Is that by Huango Polo?
Is that the town we went and did?
Yeah, where we flew the drone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw taxis there, so you could definitely and buses go through there regularly, so you could take taxis and buses or call. We have drivers that we call to drive us around.
It's a little further out, but
yeah, it would be easier to have a car there. It's not walkable to like Tumbaco or Cumbaya or
Quito
or Valle de los Chillos.
Right. Yeah, it's not walkable.
Thank you, Yinka.
Muchas gracias.
Olanian. Cool name. That's some cool names today. Love these culturally
diverse. Hey, thanks, Steve. Appreciate the little heart. Love you too.
Steve Flores. Oh, from Chicago. From your old neighborhood.
That's right. So Rick asked, what qualifications do they require to rent an apartment? It depends upon the landlord. Usually they ask for 2 months deposit. So first and last month's rent. Sometimes they'll want first, last, and security deposit. We have never had anybody ask for a pet deposit, which we still continue to find a bit unusual, but I guess that's not a thing in Ecuador. It's pretty basic. They don't run any credit checks or anything like that. Sometimes they'll ask for letters of reference, so you might have to provide some references. But the contracts here are pretty short, not like when we signed our lease in Denver. Gosh, that thing was like 20 pages. And then when we signed I know, it was ridiculous. And then when we signed our lease with Washington and Cuenca, it was 2 pages.
Yeah, front and back.
Yes, and they wanted our passports, so we gave them pictures of our passports, and that was it.
Yeah,
much different process.
Yeah, it's a lot easier here.
Yes.
Thank you, Claudia. Muchas gracias.
Thanks, Claudia. We appreciate it. Peru is number 1. Oh, Ginka says they lived on 3 continents. That's very cool.
Yeah.
You have to tell us which ones.
So as far as Peru goes with the drug trafficking and stuff, I mean, it's an issue throughout Latin America.
It's an issue throughout everywhere.
From
our understanding.
We were just watching this show called Capitani on Netflix. It's like a crime drama, and they're in Luxembourg, and it's all about the drug trafficking and the drug mafias and the gangs and everything in Luxembourg. So we were sitting here looking at each other like, this is no different than where we live now.
I know, it's so weird and sad.
It is, yeah, but it's a big demand for drugs.
Apparently.
So
wow, Diane, scroll back. Oh, well, Kurt, thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, Kurt.
Is a bicycle a means of viable transportation? A viable means of transportation? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Cuenca has bike lanes all over the city. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you could easily ride your bike around Cuenca, and they're nice bike lanes too.
They are nice bike lanes. Plus, you can go ride your bikes along the trails too if you don't want to be on the street. Mm-hmm. People ride their bikes a lot there.
Yeah. Did I miss something?
Oh, I was just curious about Diane and Carrie Perman's list. They said we loved Colombia, Belize, Peru, Costa Rica, Panama, and Guatemala.
Awesome.
Wow. Boy, you guys are world travelers. Impressive.
I know.
South American travelers, sorry.
Several of those on our list.
Actually, I guess I should say Latin American travelers because it was Central and South America. I promise I do know geography, but I seem to constantly get them wrong on our live streams, JP. Apparently, I need to study a map before we sit down and hit the going live button.
Yeah, and occasionally we get them wrong in our videos too, and then everybody corrects us.
Yes.
Like in one video recently, I said we love living in South America, and I was thinking about Ecuador, and I said it's a beautiful country, and they're like, South America is not a country; it's a continent. I'm like, I know. I was thinking about Ecuador when I said that.
Yeah, we're not perfect. We make mistakes, and sometimes we don't catch them until we publish a video. We're like, oh, geez, what are you going to do?
Okay, so property taxes, we're not sure how the property taxes, I think it's based on the value of the property, but they're extremely low here.
Yeah.
As far as HOA goes, I think Amy told us they charge like $1 per square meter. Is that right?
I think so.
It was like $1. It depends on how nice the building is and where it's located and that kind of stuff and how much it's worth. But generally it's around $1 per square meter. So like a 1,200 square foot place would be like 120 square meters. So that'd be $120 a month for the HOA.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah. Thank you, Raul.
Muchas gracias, Raul. We appreciate it.
Arenillas.
I like the little scooter guy. He's working really hard.
These are cool. I like the super stickers.
I know they're fun.
They are fun.
Wait, hold on. Somebody asked about mail. We get mail questions a lot, and I know, I get it. It's important to understand how the mail works or doesn't work. How would I deal with my mail if I moved there? If I live in the US, file taxes here, and important mail? Well, we use traveling mailbox, and then we also have a family member that gets our important mail, which is hardly anything, to be honest. And depending on the state you live in, did you say? No. You can vote and do all your taxes and all that stuff online. So that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, we still have an accountant in Denver who does our taxes for us. We e-sign everything, and so we don't actually have to physically sign any of the stuff that she does for us. She also has power of attorney, so she can handle a variety of things. I recommend getting an accountant. There are also companies like Greenback Taxes, and there's some other ones that specialize in expat taxes that can help you. Everything is done online, and they can file in all states. Some of them can even help you file taxes in the country where you live. So there's a lot of options for the taxes.
Well, thanks to the pandemic, I think everybody got used to doing stuff online. So things are much more online friendly. You can always have somebody, if you really need something, you can always have somebody bring it, or you can have it shipped with UPS or DHL. That does work. I mean, it's a little expensive, but if it's important, you want to make sure you get it, and you will.
Yes. Rick is on. Hola, Rick.
Hey, Rick.
It was really cool getting to know you on our last Zoom happy hour. I can't talk. We usually host those the last Tuesday of the month. This month it's going to be.
Oh, actually, we'll probably do it the 24th because we won't. Otherwise, it'll be the 31st.
That's Monday. So it's be the 25th.
Oops. Helps if I read the calendar. You're right. So it'll be the 25th.
Probably the 25th. Although we may want to push that
to the 29th.
We may do it on the 29th this month.
We'll keep you posted.
Yeah,
How's that for a non-answer, Rick?
Yes.
We're so definitive.
We have a trip planned. We're not saying where we're going yet. We're going to wait and make sure we actually go. But we may be gone then. So we'll see.
Thank you again. And we hope you find the e-course helpful.
Yeah, it's great. The e-course.
And you can ask questions in that too. So if you have specific questions, feel free to post a question and we will respond as quickly as we possibly can. Sometimes there's a little delay in getting those emails.
COURSE.
One question I haven't seen answered. Wait, and this is from Boulder Geek. Hola, Boulder Geek. Can you travel outside of Ecuador if you are on the 90-day extension? In Portugal, you can't exit or re-enter. Yes, I think you can.
That's a good question. We're assuming you can, but we don't know for sure. You would need to ask a visa agent, I guess.
That is an excellent question. I am going to, excuse me for a moment, I'm going to write myself a note and ask Maité about that.
Yeah, that's a really good one we haven't heard before. Nobody's asked if that one works the same way as the regular tourist visa, because you can come and go as much as you want with a regular 90-day tourist visa. And the clock starts on the date of entry into Ecuador, so that you have 90 days for that, from a year from the date of first entry. But nobody's ever asked us about how that works on the extension.
And I never thought to ask. That is an excellent question. For some reason, I want to say, yes, you can leave because they just treat it like a typical visa here, but we're not 100% sure. So yeah, we can post that once we find out. We'll put it out there. We can put it in our community tab. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you see the posts that we put in the community tab.
Thank you, CJ.
Yes, CJ, thank you so much. We really appreciate your guys' questions too, because it keeps us going.
Good questions.
Yes.
That was a stumper there.
Yeah. Oh,
man.
Almost as difficult as the Zoom happy hour question. I'm joking.
Yeah, let me put that up there too. If you guys want to join us, I don't have that link anywhere.
Oh my goodness.
So Patreon.
Oh yeah. All right, I needed a water break. Sorry, everyone.
There, that's in case you guys want to join us on Patreon. We have a variety of benefits that come with that, including access to our awesome community of current and future expats. It's a very active community, very supportive.
It is a very supportive community. It's really nice. People are making friends there a lot, which I think is awesome. We've actually had some romance in the Discord community too.
Some people started dating from meeting through our community of unconventionals.
I know. I love that. That's so awesome.
It's a great way to meet other like-minded people.
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody, hold on. I just saw a question. Somebody asked if it's improper for men to wear shorts here. No. On the coast, well, it depends on where you are. Well, in the mountains, it's usually too cold to wear shorts, although we do see some people wearing shorts. But on the coast, everybody wears shorts, and especially in the smaller towns like Olón. And so what's so funny is that we used to get comments like, I should dress more like a local. And I walk out the front door and the locals are all dressed in cargo shorts and t-shirts, exactly like I was wearing. I'm like, there's the locals. I've dressed exactly like them.
Yeah, cargo shorts are very popular on the coast.
Yeah. So but I thought that was funny.
And yes, Rory soccer, football is extremely popular. Very, very popular. It's exciting right now. Ecuador is going to be in the World Cup
next month.
Yes. So Anthony, I saw your question. You asked about Jamaica, Bahamas, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. So we stay clear of all of those places because of hurricanes. Puerto Rico is actually a really good option for retirement because it's a really tax-friendly state and it's, so close to the US. And we actually were kind of toying around with the idea of Puerto Rico back in, 2016? And our friends moved there and they were loving it. They called it America Light and they said it was an easy transition. And then they had that massive hurricane.
And they were without power for 3 weeks.
Yeah. And no water. And they lived in a high rise. And he was saying how they had to go and stand in line and get water and carry their bucket upstairs. And that's our biggest concern. We've met other people that have retired. Well, they didn't retire. They moved and were working online in the Dominican Republic and they loved it. Same with Jamaica is another good option. Bahamas, I don't know much about other than I think it's a lot more expensive, but yeah, there are definitely good possibilities. We're just a little bit afraid of hurricanes.
Yes. Yeah. You don't have bad weather in Ecuador other than the occasional flood.
An earthquake.
Well, but that's not weather.
It's not weather. It's Mother Nature.
Yeah. Mother Nature. Yeah. The earthquakes, we felt a few recently.
Yeah.
But there's no hurricanes, no tropical storms. They actually start forming off of the coast out in the Pacific. So they don't ever come here.
William, there is amateur radio in Ecuador. And Johnny, we have not had, I don't want to jinx us, knock on wood, we have not had to deal with jury duty. But I guess we would just tell them we're out of the country. Yeah,
that's what generally that works. We just tell them we live overseas. Thank you, William, by the way. I'm not sure we ever.
I don't think we said thank you. So
thank you, William.
Muchas gracias.
There was another question up here I was going to answer.
Portugal?
Oh, Portugal. It was not a serious consideration. We actually dreamed about Portugal for a while, but realized that the 7-hour time difference between Portugal and where our jobs and clients were back in Denver was just not realistic because we didn't want to work in the middle. We didn't want to work all night long.
Right. So that's why we never really even had it on the table.
Yeah. It was basically briefly it would be really cool, but it wasn't ever viable for us.
Yes.
So what about the professional visa on the thoughts or challenges on getting a university transcript? So I graduated in 94 and they had all my stuff. We had to go to the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. And I had to get all the transcripts and the letters and they had a notary. So they did all of that stuff for us and it was not a problem at all. And that was from 94. So it was 22 years after I graduated. They'll have all that stuff.
Yeah. We haven't heard of anybody having difficulty getting their transcripts.
Sergio, muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Tell us about any Ecuadorian habit dish that was perhaps a bit strange in the beginning that is now usual for you.
Oh.
Habit or dish. I'm not sure that.
Well, how about putting lime juice on popcorn?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
I will never forget that because we were at a restaurant a long time ago. This is when we first went to Machala to get our visa application submitted. And we stopped at this restaurant and Maité squeezed lime juice on her popcorn. And we thought that was the strangest thing. We'd never seen anybody do that before. Now we do it all the time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yes.
Because it's since we don't put butter on popcorn anymore, it's a really nice substitute for butter.
And the other thing I find interesting is the ceviche. In the States, we always ate ceviche like pico de gallo or salsa, like a dip with chips. But here they eat it more like a soup.
Yeah, they use a spoon. Like you get a couple of chips with the ceviche and a spoon, and you just eat it.
And they also put in popcorn and then like toasted
tostado
kernels. Yeah,
maize tostado.
It's really good, but we were surprised by that.
Well, we eat the vegan ceviche. Well, they make it with palmitos. What is it?
Yeah, palmitos, hearts of palm. But it's the same principle, whether you are getting it with fish or without. So there you go.
I just didn't want our vegan viewers yelling at us.
Oh. There's all kinds of ceviche.
Yes, in fact, it's really popular here to have it without fish in it, to have it with the palmito. Yes. Palmito? Am I saying that right? Doesn't sound right for some reason.
So we got a question about earthquakes. We felt a couple, when we lived in Manta in the high-rise apartment, there was a month of earthquake swarms. And man, our condo building was swaying a lot.
It was rocking and rolling.
But none of them have been more than like 4.9, right?
Yeah, I think there was a 5.3.
Yeah.
And that building was super sturdy, but it did sway for a while afterwards. You could feel it on the bigger ones. You could feel it swaying on the little ones. It just kind of shook a little bit and it was over. But
yeah, we felt a really strong one in Olón. That was crazy. That one lasted for a long time, but I don't know what power it was or whatever the terminology is. I don't think we've ever.
Scale.
Yes, thank you. I don't think we've ever experienced anything nearly as major as they had back in 2016. Thank goodness, and hopefully none of us ever will.
Yeah, really hope so. Muchas gracias, John.
Thanks, John.
Have you used Servientrega for package or document deliveries to Ecuador? Great video this week, as always. I agree with JP's thoughts on poor fruit here in the U.S. I know. We really missed our fruit and vegetables.
Yeah. So yes, we have used Servientrega throughout Ecuador. We have not had anything delivered from the United States to Ecuador using Servientrega. So normally they hand it off once their package arrives in Ecuador, but it's a great service. I just placed an order. I think I talked about this in last week's live stream. I placed an order on Tienda Mia. I got that a couple of days ago and it was shipped. I think it was shipped UPS. I'm not positive, but it made it here really quickly. So I'm very pleased. My Amazon order, I've been doing a lot of testing for you guys. It's not like I'm just going online shopping crazy. My Amazon order was shipped via UPS.
So do you know how much the shipping was for the Tienda Mia? What the shipping cost?
Well,
it was included, right?
They worked it all into the item price of each item, so it was a little bit different. So I'm not exactly sure. I will tell you, when we used Servientrega, when we lived in Olón, it was interesting because we've talked about this before, how often there are not precise addresses, and we did not have a precise address when we lived in Olón, and we had my sweet Leisha's ashes brought to us. So we told the guy to meet us in the square because we didn't know how to explain to him how to find our condo, because for whatever reason, the way it showed up on the map, it was confusing because it was behind the soccer field. Mm-hmm. So they are very good at finding you, but they may call you and have you meet them and get you to talk them through the final steps.
Yeah, and there weren't street signs. There aren't very many street signs in Ecuador, especially outside the city. So it's not easy for people to find you or to give them directions because there's no street signs to look at.
Yes, that was an interesting experience.
Let's see. I think Did we miss something?
I don't know. It just looks like it.
I know. It looks like
sometimes
it
freezes.
It freezes, and then we get like 15 comments in a row on our end. I'm not sure what it looks like on your end. Let's see. Are you helping the poor folks in your area? And if so, in which way? So during the pandemic, we hosted a fundraiser. We raised $47,000 to help feed people, because when the pandemic lockdown happened, tourists obviously were not coming to the coast, and that is the primary source of income for people on the coast. So people were literally starving. So we raised money, and then there were several people in the area that took the money, they went and bought the food, packaged it up, and delivered it out. So we, our role in that was fundraising, and there were several people raising money at that time.
Yep, and we have contributed to the animal orphanages, the people orphanages, and to just some of the individual causes that we are made aware of throughout Ecuador.
Yep.
Which is usually cash, or we were able to do some stuff via PayPal.
Yeah. And we also help Ecuador in general by posting these videos and encouraging people to come here and spend their money on, on their vacation and in their retirement. Because we talked to somebody in Manta, Ecuadorian business person, that said that they estimate that the expats spend about $600 million a year in Ecuador. Wow. And without using a lot of the public services either. Most of the expats have private health insurance. We don't compete for jobs with Ecuadorians. Right. We come here, we spend money on private drivers and massage therapists and tourism and housing, food, other variety of things. And so all of that money is basically imported from other countries and spent here. So it's a really important source of income for Ecuador to have expats and tourists here. So we like to think we help bring people here with our videos, and that helps everybody.
And there are lots of ways that other people can help too. So if you're curious about that, there are a lot of different volunteer groups you can help with. You can help by teaching people English. You could donate money or help with medications or food. There's a lot of different opportunities to give back, which is really awesome.
Yes.
And very important.
Let's see. Are there any benefits to going for citizenship versus staying on permanent visa? The main benefit is having a second passport, and it does get you, being an Ecuadorian citizen gets you into a lot of additional countries without needing a visa. There's a whole list of countries where you can go in South America and some in other parts of the world in Asia where you can go, like Israel. You can go to Israel, and although I think you can with the US passport too. But anyway, there's a bunch of countries you can get in visa free.
But it's very similar.
It's always a good idea to have more than one passport, and Ecuador is a good one to get because they're, what do they call it, tax friendly? What's that called?
They're territorial tax here.
They have a territorial tax, so they don't charge tax on money earned outside of Ecuador. So it's a really good second passport to have if you earn money outside of Ecuador.
Yeah, it's nice. So we've had people ask us before if Ecuador taxes their pensions, and the answer is no. Your Social Security and your pensions are not taxed here.
Yeah, they also have a double taxation treaty so that they, with other countries, so that they don't double tax.
Yes.
So it's a really good place with respect to that.
Nobody wants to pay extra taxes.
No. Gracias, Claudia.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
So what about, what is a good mountain city, JP, that you can tolerate the altitude?
Loja.
Loja's lower, Vilcabamba. I'm not having as much issues with elevation as I used to.
No, because even our last trip to Cuenca.
Yeah, I didn't have a single bad day when we were there for a week in Cuenca.
That was amazing.
First time
I know
that we've been back there that I didn't have any issues. So I think I've mentioned this before, weight loss and no alcohol, I think were the keys. And they were also the culprits.
Yes.
When we lived there. Yeah, I weighed too much. I lost weight when we went to the coast, and I think that helped a lot.
I agree.
Thanks, Johnny Kuhn.
Thank you so much, Johnny. I have to wonder too, if maybe after living here for several years now, you just embrace more tranquilo, so your body is just kind of calmed down.
I do feel lower stress.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
I'm sleeping better, and I think that I was a bit stressed out when we first got here, mainly over my health issues. But I've gotten used to those, and I feel doing better, and I think that's helped.
I was stressed out over visa. Not that we were having visa issues, but I didn't like feeling that I was out of control. And I'm sure you guys have heard us talk about this a lot. The communication here is different. So I was a nervous Nelly, but I've really calmed down and embraced the tranquilo a lot myself.
Yeah.
It's a process. For some of us, like me, it was a longer process.
Thanks, Brent. I like the mic drop.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any knowledge about the app Wise Money Transfer app? So I don't know. I haven't looked at that in a long time, maybe 6 or 8 months, but the last time I tried to use it, it didn't work with Ecuador because it only allowed you to transfer money from one currency to another currency in one country to another country. And because Ecuador is on the US dollar, it didn't provide an option to transfer money from the United States in dollars to Ecuador in dollars. And I messaged them and I said, are you guys going to fix this? This is broken. And the response was, I talked to the tech team. They have no plans to fix it. So I don't know if they've ever fixed that or not. I kind of lost interest in them at that point when they said, basically, sorry, there's no way to transfer money from the United States to another country that is on the dollar.
Yeah, that's a weird one. We've used Zoom, the XOOM app. Well, it's not an app, but we've used that multiple times. It works well. It's expensive, but if you need money quickly,
yeah, you can also use Western Union.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you have lots of different options.
Yeah.
Justin said drinking less alcohol can definitely help with altitude sickness. Yes. JP can attest.
Yes.
And it's just much better healthy for your health overall. For your sleep, for sure.
Somebody asked about the weather in November in Cuenca. It's a great time of year to be in Cuenca. You're also, if you're there at the beginning, 3 de Noviembre, which is the 3rd of November, is the Cuenca Independence Day. So that whole week is party central. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of people. So if you have to like that, although if you move out of the El Centro area, it's everywhere else is pretty normal.
Mm-hmm.
It is a nice time. It's definitely been chilly in the mornings and the evenings in Cuenca. So make sure you bring your layers.
Yeah. Is hypnotherapy a profession there? We haven't heard of it.
We have not heard of that. That doesn't mean it's not done, but we're not aware of it.
Yeah. And Maité Airport will be international soon. Well, I hope so. I'll believe it when I see it.
I know.
Because they've been talking about that for years and it has not happened yet. They're talking about adding flights to Miami, Maité to Miami, and maybe Panama City, which would be awesome.
That would be fantastic. It was my understanding it was going to be Panama first and then maybe Miami. But I don't know. They're supposed to finally have that new terminal finished by the end of the year. So that'll be really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I will say flying in and out of Manta is super easy because the airport is teeny, tiny. There is no waiting.
I guess somebody's watching the Cowboys game.
Oh.
Is that why we have more people now? The Cowboys game over? Who were they playing?
I don't know. I saw that there is the game in London today. Did anybody watch that?
Oh, yeah, the London exhibition game.
I didn't even know they did that. And JP told me they've been doing that for like 20 years. They being the NFL. Tells you what I know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not a huge football fan.
Let's see. How quick to get the visa once you invest? It's the visa process right now. What do we see? It's taking like 3 months.
3 to 6 months. Probably.
Yeah, the government is way behind on all of their processing. Driver's license, cedulas, everything. They're just way behind. So it's taking a lot longer. And you'll need $425 a month in income for the investor visa. And it's $42,500 right now. But we're anticipating that will go up to $45,000 next year from $42,500 because of the cost of living or the minimum wage increase.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that progresses.
Yeah.
Oh, they play Washington Redskins. That's my dad's team.
It's not called that anymore. Now it's just called the Washington football team.
Oh,
I think.
Sorry. Oops.
Unless they changed it.
I have no idea. I'll just shut up.
With the permanent visa, how many days can you travel out of Ecuador? So the last we heard, you can be gone 6 months for the permanent visa. So you've been here 2 years temporary, then you get your permanent. So the first 2 years of your permanent, you can be gone 6 months each year. And then after that, we've been told that there is no, they changed it to Washington Commanders. Oh, that's cool. That's a good name.
Wow.
So anyway, year 5, we've been told that there's no travel restriction. And then after that, you just have to be in Ecuador 1 day every 2 years to maintain your permanent residency. But subject to change and
Yes.
also interpretation.
Yes.
So we always recommend chatting with a visa agent who is on top of this stuff. The visa agents live this day in and day out, and so they often know about the changes before they're even announced.
Yeah. Can you imagine? That is a job I would not want.
I have a lot of respect for the visa agents because it's really hard. Although Ecuador is better than a lot of these countries we've been researching that don't even have official visa programs. And it's just kind of like they just decide when you show up what they're going to give you.
Yeah, that would be I would really hate that. That would be a little scary to me. But people make it work. Just got to be patient.
Thanks, Carl.
I missed it.
He says he loves our channel.
Oh, thank you, Carl.
I appreciate that. We put a lot of work and love into it. So we're really happy when people enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Your woman is fire.
Oh, well, thank you.
I guess that's a compliment.
I don't know.
Amelia is beautiful inside and outside. I'm a very lucky
thanks,
man.
JP. We're both very lucky.
I do not take Amelia for granted at all. Any day. Very thankful every day.
We are very thankful. It's nice that we could actually work together, and we work together without fighting. That's the key. I know some couples who do not do that. They work together and they are always like this.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
No. Yeah, it's pretty easy. We have a clearly defined roles and responsibilities. I think that really helps.
It does.
Amelia does most of the research now, and I do the editing and like the massaging of her outlines so that we're ready to go when we press record, and works out well. Somebody asked about cell phones. So you can get an eSIM, or you can come here, you can buy a prepaid SIM card at the airport. I recommend bringing an extra phone if you do that. You can also do an eSIM. There are several apps that you can install on your phones that will allow you to buy data plans and voice plans in different countries for just fixed amounts of time.
Yeah, we have Claro, and we have been extremely happy with the service as long as we've lived here. And we also know a guy who just recently bought a cheap cell phone, a cheap smartphone here, and he said it was $200, and he was happy with it. So the prices of the cell phones are still more expensive than they are in the States, but they have come down, so they are more reasonable.
Yes.
And you have a nice variety.
Yes. Hotels near the airport, you got two options. One, well, actually, there's probably more, but the two that we know of, one is Wyndham. It's right at the airport.
Yeah.
It's the easiest one. It's also the most expensive. There's a new Holiday Inn. It takes about 15 minutes to get there because you have to go clear down and come back. And so it's only 5 minutes from the airport going back to the airport. It's a really nice Holiday Inn.
They both are really nice, and they both have shuttles. Like JP said, the Wyndham is close. And I think I may have made a smart-assy comment that you could walk there. You cannot walk there. So don't try to walk there because it's not really a pedestrian-friendly area.
Yeah, Airlo, that's the name I was trying to come up with, Jamie. Thank you very much. That's one of the eSIM apps. There's a few of them, but that's the one that we have installed and will be using on an upcoming trip.
We will?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, JP has installed.
I
don't
have
know
installed it
anything
on my phone.
I just know they're in existence and that people are using them.
Yeah, apparently they work really well. We've heard good things, but we'll have more to share in the future. Yes, vegan food's very popular in Ecuador.
It is. And it's easier to eat vegan because fruits and veggies are supreme here.
Yeah, and they're a core part of the Ecuadorian diet. So it's super easy to eat.
That along with rice. Rice is very popular here as well.
Yeah, rice and beans. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. Airlo. I know we locked up again.
Thanks, Johnny. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sammy. We're doing fine.
Yes.
Muy bien.
All is well.
Harold Wayne Jackson, temp visa says we can be gone for 6 months. No, that's not right. For the temporary visa, if you want to go permanent, you have to be in the country for 21 months out of the 24 months. So you can only be gone a total of 90 days for the first 2 years if you want to apply for a permanent residency.
Right. If you only just want to keep doing the 2-year temporary, then you can be gone for 6 months. They've changed that.
Are you sure? Is that right?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Okay.
Because you don't have to become a permanent resident if you don't want to.
Yeah. But once you get your permanent residency, then the first 2 years of permanent residency, so that's years 3 and 5 in Ecuador, 3 and 4 in Ecuador, then you can be gone 6 months each of those years. Year 5, you can be gone as much as you want. You just have to be in Ecuador 1 day every 2 years.
Yeah. And now that we put that out there, watch them come out
I
and
know,
change
they'll
it
be
again.
like tomorrow,
I know.
and it'll be effective the next day.
Yes. Let's hope not. I know it gets very confusing. We were really confused about the temporary and permanent resident visa changes when they enacted that, because they had changed them and then like 3 months later they changed them again. So
Yeah,
that happens.
Change is constant.
Yes.
Is there an Amelia and JP of Peru? We have not seen one.
Yeah, if anybody else knows, let us know.
We've seen a few travel channels going through Peru, but we haven't seen, we haven't really gone out of our way to look, but nothing's popped up either in our research.
But I understand why Peru would be your first choice, because wow, the country looks amazing, and it's been on our list to go. Well, of course, we have always wanted to visit Machu Picchu like everybody else, but we want to go and explore a lot more. Those Rainbow Mountains look amazing to me, JP.
Thank you, Sammy.
Oh, thanks, Sammy.
I'm so used to reading comments about how hot Amelia is.
Yeah, Boulder Geek says just cost you $4.50 each reset. Yeah, I know. It's frustrating when they change those laws. That happened to us right in the middle of applying for our professional visa. Well, we got a new president and new laws and changes. The day before we were supposed to submit our application, we had to redo a bunch of stuff. So that really was frustrating, but we still got it done.
What are the requirements in order to have a dog? Are you bringing the dog with you, or are you adopting here? There's a lot of opportunity to adopt dogs in need of homes here.
The main requirement is to give them lots of love.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a list of requirements and shots that they have to have in order to come here.
But be a dog owner in Ecuador, I don't really think there's a lot of requirements. There's things you should do, like getting them their rabies shots and spayed and neutered, but a lot of people don't actually do that here. Some people don't even have collars, and they just let them walk themselves, which is very fascinating to us. We've gotten used to it over the years, but it's still very strange when I see an obviously well-kept dog walking itself without even a collar on. But that's just me.
So I
worry about the babies.
You can continue talking.
Oh, I was just seeing somebody, you were starting to talk.
Traveling with pets to Ecuador. We have an article with links to all the resources that you'll need to bring your pets here.
So, Sammy, vegan restaurants, there are vegan, I can't say they're super popular here, but there are a lot of vegan options in certain areas. Cuenca is extremely vegan friendly. There are several vegan restaurants. Vilcabamba is another place that's very vegan friendly. Olón, that little tiny town, Olón and Montanita both have lots of vegan options. I think there is one true vegan restaurant in that area. Manta was not as vegan friendly, but we still were able to eat out. So, and there's vegan restaurants in Quito and Guayaquil. So you've got a lot of choices. It's not like when we went to Amsterdam and we thought there'd be a lot of vegan options, and there weren't.
No, you had to go to restaurants specifically for vegan food, because although we did find a Thai restaurant that had a lot of plant-based options that were awesome. The Ecuadorian economy is completely separate from the U.S. economy. Even though we're on the same currency, they are completely separate. So inflation here has been around 3.8%, which is actually high. It's been around 0% for the previous 5 years. So it's kind of higher now, but still not terrible. The housing market is a completely different thing here. It's nothing at all like the United States. There is not a lot of money to be borrowed. It's not easy to borrow money here, and the interest rates are really high. So there's not a lot of liquidity in the real estate market. So the sales cycles are longer. They don't turn them over as quickly. Ecuadorians use real estate as a savings account. So they'll buy, because the banks only insure up to $32,000 in a deposit, Ecuadorians put their money in real estate and they'll just let it sit there. And if somebody offers them enough money, then they'll take it. Otherwise, every place is always for sale, and rarely do the things sell. So it's a completely different market.
Yeah, although our condo sold.
That was different. We were oceanfront. It's
high
different.
Demand area.
Yeah, there are areas that are really high demand, and that real estate turns over faster. But for the most part, it's a lot different here.
It is. It's interesting. It's been really good to learn.
Thanks, Janet.
Thank you, Janet.
I know it's cool when we get people commenting that they've been watching us since the early days. That the first few videos that no one watched.
Yeah. I know what I'm always like, oh no.
Yeah.
We look a lot different now too.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. So somebody asked about COVID. Richard, you asked about COVID. To be honest with you, I have not really been paying attention. The COVID cases have been under control here for quite a while. They've loosened all the restrictions. People are still wearing masks, but that's a personal preference. But I have to say, we aren't seeing as many mask wearers as we did about 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think they have that new bivariant booster here, though.
Not yet.
They're usually
Although
behind.
I got a text message from the government and saying that we should be prepared to get the booster when it's available.
Yeah.
So I get text messages from the government here. It's very interesting.
It is, yes. So do I on my Ecuador phone.
I
We
know.
both do.
Or they both go off at the same time. Ding, ding, ding. I'm like,
Yes.
What is that? Like,
We do have monkeypox here in case anybody's following that. I read the other day that Ecuador has 120 cases of monkeypox right now. So
yeah. I know that vaping is legal in Ecuador, but have you seen any vape shops? Yes.
Yes.
There are a lot.
Yeah.
I
they've
stopped
definitely
smoking
popped up.
15 years ago and don't want to go back to cigarettes.
I don't blame you. So yes, you have options.
Although I heard that the chemicals in those vapes aren't much better than the cigarettes, but yeah, there's lots of vape places.
Yes. And Jason, that was in a Barron's article that we read about the 1.9% rule. Well,
Here,
do you have that? Can you link out to that?
Here.
Oh yeah.
Copy link URL.
Yep, that popped up in our news feed. So just food for thought with that. You guys have helped me calm down. I've obviously relaxed since we started this live stream. At least I think I have. I feel more relaxed. I don't feel quite so riled up about the numbers. I think I gave into the hype, JP.
Yeah.
That happens.
Oh, thanks. Ron says we look happier and healthier.
Thank you. We are.
Yes, I love Amelia's natural hair color.
I do too. I know every once in a while I get grief from people telling me I should diet. I'm like, hell no.
I know. If we get comments that say, Amelia, you would look so much younger if you dyed your hair. Like,
I don't care. I want my hair to be healthy.
I love it, this color. It's like a beautiful, people pay good money to have their hair this color, like 20-year-olds.
I know. How crazy is that? I find that hilarious that 20-year-olds and younger want gray hair and us people with gray hair diet.
Yeah. Your hair is beautiful the way it is.
JP.
And I love it curly too. She used to straighten it. I told her I never liked it straight.
It was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I don't miss any. I don't have to deal with my hair anymore. It's so nice.
Neither do I.
You don't.
Is there medical or recreational marijuana in Ecuador? Yes. It's easy to find the CBD oil.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, the medical marijuana thing, it's a lot different here. So it's all oil. We have never seen true medical marijuana like in the plant form available. So
even though it's supposed to be legal, as of 2019, they passed a law to legalize it, but they didn't ever pass the regulations to make it
right,
like where you could have dispensaries and stuff.
So you get the CBD oil and you can buy it all over the place. We saw CBD shots at the grocery store yesterday. The CBD here, I think the maximum amount is 1% THC. So it's not designed to get you high. Is there recreational stuff here? Yes. And you will not go to jail if you are caught with it, as long as it's within a certain amount and it's not
less than an ounce, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. We're not exactly sure. Don't quote us on these.
Yeah. We don't want anybody coming here and getting in trouble. And don't ask us where to buy it because we do not know.
No, we don't.
I think you just got to go and follow your nose or ask around. We have definitely smelled it from time to time.
Yeah, especially when we lived on the coast.
Yes.
Man, sometimes it was it would just reek where we would be walking.
Yes.
Does the U.S. Embassy support or supply COVID shot boosters for U.S. citizens? No. The embassy,
no.
But the Ecuadorian government provides them to expats.
Yep. You can and you can go in with your passport. If you show up with your passport, they'll give you a shot.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's free. Do I need to get a haircut? No. I shave my head. In fact, I just shaved it today.
Nope. And this you just kind of trim.
Yeah.
With a little trimmer.
I'm kind of letting it
JP
grow
doesn't
out.
go to a barber. He doesn't have the whole straight razor
experience. I've had the straight razor experience. It makes me a little uncomfortable, to be honest, to have this big razor like scraping my head, but I can't relate. I didn't dislike it, but I wasn't totally comfortable throughout the experience. Is coca leaf chewing a thing there? We haven't seen the chewing like in Peru, but they do sell the coca leaf tea, Maité de Coca.
And you can get the leaves. So I don't think it's as popular.
Yeah, it's not as big of a thing here as it is in Peru.
But yes.
61 living in Colorado and having a hard time with my skin and hair with all the dryness.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, it's dry in Colorado for sure.
So have you noticed a difference, Amelia?
Well, not really. Sorry. Mountains air is dry. Yeah. I did on the coast because it was really humid, but I use a lot of moisturizer and I drink a lot of water.
So this is a really good question. If we weren't together, would we have moved abroad solo?
Well, obviously I cannot speak for you, but the answer for me is yes, because I always knew the first time I set my feet in Mexico that I was going to live in another country. I don't know when. I don't know if I would have left as early as I did, but yes, that has been a dream of mine since I was in my early 20s.
Yes, and I always wanted to move abroad too.
That is an excellent question.
Yep. So,
and we've met a lot of people that come here and go to other countries as single, whether they're male or female. So if you're one of those and you're considering that, you will be in good company.
Yes. So I see JPNY, you've done your research and you found exactly what you wanted to see. So easy to do that these days. So easy to find what you want.
That is true.
Does Ecuador have a huge immigration problem like the U.S. is facing? Not huge, but there is an issue with, or has been with Venezuela. Yeah. But actually, we're hearing now that a lot of the Venezuelans are going back home. So I saw that in the news recently.
Yeah.
But there's been an issue with the Venezuelans fleeing their country as their economy crashed.
Yeah, that really happened several years ago for Ecuador. Hey, John, thanks again.
We have been vegan 6.5 years. So about a year and a half before we moved to Ecuador.
Yes. Yep. No regrets. And thank you. I do love my Ecuadorian jewelry.
I know. That's cool. My year in Ecuador was great in terms of the people that I met. They're great.
Oh, awesome.
Thanks, Ava. I know the Ecuadorian people are just so nice. If you're nice to them, we have people every once in a while say, and really mean comments on our videos that the Ecuadorians were mean to them. And I'm thinking, could it be that you were mean to them and they were mean back?
That doesn't seem like their character.
Here. It's not their character, but we're always smiling, having a good time. We say hola and we're nice to them. We talk to them in Spanish and they seem to really, they respond well to that.
Yes.
At least with us. We've never had an Ecuadorian be mean to us, have we?
No.
We did get honked at the other day. We were crossing the road and this Ecuadorian driving, what was that, a Lexus?
I don't know what
it was driving. A Lexus. There are a lot of really wealthy Ecuadorians, which is whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But we were crossing the road and he was going about double the speed limit and honked at us and flashed his lights because
even though
we were already across before he even got close to us, but he was obviously in a big hurry.
Yes. And so thank you. This necklace, so you'll find a lot of hand beaded jewelry here. I have a couple that I wear. And then there's also silver jewelry is really popular. So the filigree style jewelry was birthed here. I think it was in Turtle Egg. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the filigree. Yes.
Yeah. So if you're into jewelry, you have a lot of really nice options. And this one's just little tiny beads that are nice and colorful. Yeah. Thank you.
I was laughing at Sven's comment. I followed your lead and shaved my eyebrows too. I had to show I have eyebrows. They're right there. See?
I know you can hardly see them. Thanks for making us laugh.
They're just blonde.
So Chris asked about colonial vibe towns closer to the coast. JP, have we seen anything like that?
No.
I can't think of any.
No. We didn't see any. We haven't been to all of them, so we can't say whether they exist or not, but we have not seen any of the colonial style towns in the coastal region. It's pretty much in the mountains.
If somebody else knows, please chime in because we haven't traveled all the way up the coast up by Esmeralda's interesting question.
So Jackie's asking about we're going to be doing a lot more than one video. We have an e-course coming out. It's going to have 45 videos. I have 98% of the content written for it, and now we have to carve out time to sit down and record.
Yes.
But it's a challenge because we are posting a lot of videos.
Yes, but we'll get it done.
We'll get it done.
We're both very excited about it.
I know it's really
a fun topic.
We learned a lot. So
yeah,
it's important to have multiple streams of income when you are working remotely or doing gig work or whatever it is.
Worried about your retirement.
Yeah. It's always good to have multiple streams. So if one of them is low one month, the other ones will make up for it. And we learned a lot about, what we can do even.
So Rose, if you're a licensed mental health therapist, is there work in Ecuador? I'm sure you could find work in Ecuador. I don't know if you would want to come here and fit yourself into the Ecuador medical community because the pay is lower, but there is a demand for therapists, English-speaking therapists here for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm not sure how that would work with licensing and stuff, but
that's a good question.
Let's see. Lots. Oh, I think you guys are communicating with each other, which is great.
I know, we love that. That's awesome. We like our community, and we really appreciate that you guys are forming a community, and we're kind of along for the ride.
Yeah,
I like that.
I know.
I like it.
Our private community is so awesome.
Hipster Kenny Rogers. First of all, love the name. And yeah, we have run into some crazy expats. There's some crazy Ecuadorians too. There's just crazy people, but they're very entertaining.
Yes, we're excited about the World Cup soccer.
Yeah.
Next month.
And Guayaquil and the entire country, I think, is going to be nuts.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Way. Yes.
So let's see. Do you feel like the media is truthful there as compared to the USA regarding various subjects? I think the media is, I think the media is the media. The media makes their money based on eyeballs. So they do and say what it takes to get eyeballs on their content. And I don't know.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to know. We've usually cross-reference among multiple different sources when we see news.
Mm-hmm. I like to check like 4 to 5 different sources to try to find different input and see if I could find the same article written with a different slant. But I know that there's people out there that think the media here in Ecuador is biased. So I'm sure there is some bias.
Yeah, it depends on your perspective. And also different outlets have a different bias, and it's hard to know what that is as a foreign speaker. And sometimes the translations, the language does not translate here. And I'll translate something using Google and it just doesn't make sense. It's gibberish. It's all the words are in English, but they make no sense. And sometimes it's really hard. Also, their journalists here do not understand the whole concept of including the what, when, where, why, and how. So a lot of the times they'll write a story and it's based on them thinking that you already know everything there is to know about this story. And they're just like, there's this big cake and they talk about the cherry on the top and don't mention the cake underneath it. And I'm sitting there like, I don't understand. What is this even referring to? They don't include all the details. The journalism here could use an improvement, in my opinion.
So Gabriella, the thermal baths are very nice. We love going to Baños, the Baños that's right outside of Cuenca, to Novacua and Piedra de Agua. But a lot of people like the other ones as well. We've heard really good things about Papayacta, which is in the Quito area. We have never been there. And then,
well, it's not really. It's an hour and a half east of Quito.
Well, it's by the airport, right?
No, it's an hour and a half east of the airport.
Okay. Well, it's north.
It's in the northern region.
Yeah, it's not by Cuenca.
It's about halfway between Quito and the Amazon.
But yeah, the thermal baths are very, very nice and very relaxing.
Yeah, the Boulder Geek, that's good.
Yeah.
Complete political ignorance.
That's the way to go.
I know. We, unfortunately, because we like to keep our audience updated and we like to make sure we know what's going on. We pay more attention to the politics in Ecuador now than we do the United States, where it's hopeless. But here we can at least keep our finger on the pulse of it and make sure you guys all know what's going on, especially because when they do the strikes, the national strikes called paros here, it shuts down the whole country. And
Yeah.
so we want to make sure you guys know if that's coming. And right now we don't have any new information. We're really, really hopeful that there is not another paro this month in October.
Hopefully not.
Can you live in Ecuador speaking only English?
Yeah, you can.
We don't recommend it, and it won't be as easy. The cab drivers rarely speak English, so you're going to need to at least be able to communicate. We always say taxi or transportation, mercado, and restaurant Spanish will make your life so much better.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
A lot of the restaurants, they won't speak Spanish. The drivers won't, and the mercado, if you go to the mercados, they don't speak English.
English, yeah. And people come here with no Spanish, so you can muddle through. It will not be as comfortable of an experience.
Yes. And Carrie, the e-course is mainly designed for people who are planning to move here, but there's a whole bunch of stuff in there about just living here, what it's like to live here, and how to prepare for a long visit or a move. So I would say that you would probably get some things out of it, but it's really geared toward moving here.
Right.
Pigville, Ecuador. I've never heard.
I think she's messing with you.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
I don't know what that is.
Unless that's like a slang term for something, or maybe that translated.
Maybe that's a slang term for, where is it? Is it Riobamba? Which one? There's one of those towns that's known for raising pigs. I don't remember. I think that's a slang. That's funny.
Favorite video is a hummingbird video. What has been your most memorable moment in Ecuador?
Wow.
There have been so many.
I know. My gosh.
That may have been it. Having hummingbirds landing on our hands.
I know. That was truly incredible.
That was really unbelievable to have them buzzing by. They're so fast. That was a really cool experience. I don't know. We've had so many cool experiences here.
I know. I'm going to have to really think about that. That would be a fun thing to talk about, like our top 5 favorite experiences.
Well, you said memorable moments. Probably the pandemic may have been the most memorable, because we were locked down in a small rural beach town and couldn't go outside and couldn't go on the beach. And that was memorable.
Food scarcity going on. That was very memorable, but I'd rather remember the hummingbirds.
Yeah. How is the medical system there? It's excellent.
Yes.
We are constantly amazed and pleased with our experiences with the medical system. It's efficient. It's affordable. The doctors care. They spend time with you.
Mm-hmm.
We can message them directly. So we're going to be talking more about that in an upcoming video, or probably a live stream. We'll probably talk about that in one of our upcoming live streams. We're waiting for the insurance reimbursement. And then once we have that, we can talk about the whole process from making the appointment to getting the care to getting reimbursed from the insurance company. And once we have that, we'll be able to talk about it.
Especially the insurance part, because there's some nuances. It's different here than what we're used to from the United States. So it's definitely we think it's important to share.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be helpful.
The process is a lot different for the insurance claims reimbursement. And we made some mistakes that hopefully we can help you guys avoid.
Yes. Yes. Any dangerous wildlife from the Amazon coming to the cities? I've never heard of that happening. There's some snakes. There's tarantulas, if you consider them dangerous wildlife. They're not dangerous, but they are in Cuenca. Mm-hmm. So if you're not tarantula friendly, you may not want to go to Cuenca. Although, how many did we see there? 3? It's not like the cities. It's not like the Raiders of the Lost Ark where they're like just falling on you. It's not that bad. It's not very buggy here. Even alone wasn't terrible. And we were close to the jungle and in a very humid area.
Yes. Yes. Please hit the like button.
Oh yeah. Thanks, everybody.
We're going to wrap this up soon. So
we've been going for
the like buttons, the super chats, the comments, all of your engagement tells YouTube that you like what we're doing, and then they show our stuff to you.
Yes, we do appreciate
yes.
that. So thank you very much.
We work really hard to please the algorithm. We love you, YouTube.
Yes.
Please be nice to us. It's so funny. We had to work so hard. A lot of people give us advice on what to do with or what to record and stuff. There's so much that goes into this. It's mind numbing sometimes. It's like picture the cockpit of an airplane. That's what it's like YouTubing.
That's actually a good way to put it. There's a lot of
knobs and levers all over the place, and we're trying to figure out what order to put them all in.
Yes.
All right. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We've been at this for almost an hour and a half.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for all of your super chats and your comments and your super stickers and your dancing pairs with the mic drops.
And your questions. We got some really good questions and some good feedback today. Thanks for letting me vent. Apparently I really needed that. So appreciate you once again. And
thanks, Rick. We're looking forward to meeting your wife this month.
Yeah, that'll be really fun.
Hopefully she can make it. So either the Tuesday or the 29th, Saturday the 29th. All right, guys. Thank you all so much.
Yep.
Are we done?
Well, there was, hold on. That Jason asked something about 50,000 to 75,000 for the resident visa. I don't know where those numbers came from.
Yeah, that's not from us.
No.
It's never been that high here in Ecuador. It was 32,000 when we moved here, and then it went up to 39, and then to 42, and then to
That's if
40.
you want the investor visa.
Yeah, for the investor visa.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
there's a
where
bunch of different resident visas, and they all have different requirements.
but
so.
nothing that high. So
Yep.
yeah, that's crazy.
That's a different country, I think.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Ciao.